There comes a moment in every woman's life when she realizes she is not who she thought she was. Maybe it happens in the quiet hours of the night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why life feels so stagnant. Maybe it happens after heartbreak, when the person you thought would never leave is suddenly gone. Maybe it happens in the middle of laughter, when a voice inside whispers, "This isn't really you." Whatever the moment looks like, it is a wake-up call, a stirring of the soul, a reminder that there is something deeper waiting to be discovered. Psalm 23 is often read as a passage of comfort, a reassurance that we are guided, protected, and never alone. But hidden within these words is a secret most people never see, a key that unlocks the door to self-discovery. You are not just a woman living through life's struggles. You are a soul on a journey. And like any journey, there are questions that must be answered before you can move forward. Questions that reveal your hidden self, the version of you that has been buried under years of conditioning, fear, and expectations. These three questions will change the way you see yourself. They will illuminate the path you were meant to walk. And as you answer them, you will feel something shift inside of you, something profound, something holy. The truth is, you have always been more than you realized. But now, it is time to see yourself clearly. It is time to ask the questions that will set you free. The first question that reveals your hidden self is one that most people never dare to ask. What am I truly seeking? At first, the answer may seem obvious. You might say happiness, love, success, or peace. But if you dig deeper, you will realize that what you are seeking is not just an external goal, it is an internal state of being. The desires you chase in life are reflections of what your soul longs for. Through the relationships you pursue, the career you build, the way you present yourself to the world, all of these are driven by an invisible force within you, a longing that you may not even fully understand. Psalm 23 begins with a powerful statement. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." It is easy to read those words and assume they mean material provision, that God will provide what you need. But the deeper meaning is this: when you are truly aligned with who you are meant to be, you no longer feel lost in the pursuit of things that do not fulfill you. You no longer chase relationships that leave you empty. You no longer strive for validation from people who do not see your worth. You shall not want, not because you have everything you ever desired, but because you have finally discovered what truly matters. So what are you really seeking? If you strip away the surface level desires, what is at the core of your longing? Is it acceptance, freedom, a sense of purpose? When you answer this question honestly, you begin to see why certain things in your life feel so unfulfilling. You realize that many of your pursuits have been distractions, shadows of what your soul actually craves. And once you recognize that truth, you can begin walking in alignment with who you were created to be. The second question is even more difficult to face. What am I running from? If we are honest with ourselves, most of us are running from something: painful memories, regret, the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, and sometimes the scariest thing of all, the fear of our own power. Psalm 23 tells us, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." This verse is often associated with facing external dangers, but what if the valley of the shadow of death represents something within you? What if it is the parts of yourself you have been avoiding? The wounds you have ignored, hoping they would heal on their own. The emotions you have numbed because feeling them would be too overwhelming. You cannot heal what you refuse to face. You cannot move forward if you are constantly looking over your shoulder, running from the past. The things you have buried, your childhood wounds, the heartbreaks that changed you, the moments of betrayal that made you question your worth are not gone. They are still there, shaping your choices, influencing your relationships, and determining how you see yourself. What are you running from? And what would happen if you stopped running? If you turned around and faced it head on? Would it break you or would it set you free? The truth is, The pain you fear is not as powerful as you think it is. The valley may feel dark, but you are not walking through it alone. You are being guided. And on the other side of that valley is the version of you who is no longer defined by what she has been through, but by who she has become. The third and final question is the most transformative of all. Who would I be if I fully trusted God? We say we trust Him, but do we really? Trusting God means surrendering control. It means believing that we are enough, even when the world tells us otherwise. It means walking away from things that no longer serve us, even when we don't know what comes next. It means stepping into the unknown with faith, even when fear tries to hold us back. Psalm 23 concludes with the words, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever." Goodness and mercy do not come from chasing, striving, or proving ourselves. They come from surrender, from trusting that we do not have to force what is meant for us, from believing that even when life does not go according to our plans, we are still exactly where we are meant to be. Who would you be if you fully trusted God? Would you still hold on to relationships that drain you? Would you still second guess yourself? Would you still live in fear of what others think? Or would you finally step into the woman you were created to be, bold, unshaken, deeply rooted in her worth? When you answer this question, you unlock a life of peace, a life where you are no longer left on read, waiting for someone to acknowledge your value, a life where you are no longer running from your past because you have made peace with it. A life where you are no longer searching for your worth because you have found it in the one who created you. Self-discovery is not about changing who you are. It is about uncovering who you have always been. The world has told you that you must prove yourself, that you must be more, do more, achieve more before you are worthy. But Psalm 23 reminds you of the truth. You are already chosen. You are already loved. You are already enough. When you let this truth sink into your soul, everything about the way you live your life changes. You stop over-explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop chasing love from those who are incapable of giving it. You stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. You start moving through the world with a quiet, unshakable confidence. Not because you have all the answers, but because you finally trust the one who does. This is what it means to walk in faith, to know that even when the path is unclear, you are still being guided. To understand that even when things don't go the way you expected, they are still working for your good. To believe that even in the moments when you feel lost, you are never truly lost. You are simply being led somewhere greater. The reason you have struggled, it is because you have been searching in the wrong places. You have been looking for love in people who do not know how to love. You have been seeking validation in achievements that never feel like enough. But the truth is, you do not need to be chosen because you already are. The moment you internalize this truth, the way people respond to you changes. When you walk in confidence, in purpose, in faith, you stop attracting people who treat you like an option. You stop settling for less than you deserve. You stop trying to convince others of your worth because you no longer need their approval. Psalm 23 is not just a passage to recite in times of trouble. It is a guide for how to live. He prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. He anoints my head with oil. My cup overflows. This is not a promise that you will never face hardship. It is a reminder that even in the midst of difficulty, you are still being provided for. Even when people underestimate you, you are still rising. Even when the world tries to make you feel small, your cup is still overflowing. The version of you that is fully aligned with her purpose does not beg for a seat at the table. She does not chase after those who do not see her. She does not seek validation from sources that were never meant to nourish her. She sits confidently, knowing that what is meant for her will never pass her by. These three questions are not just about self-reflection. They are about transformation. They are about stepping into the truth of who you are, who you have always been, and who you are always meant to be. They are about breaking the patterns that have kept you bound and stepping into a life of true freedom. If you have ever felt unseen, unheard, or unworthy, know this: that was never your identity. That was never your truth. You are not invisible. You are not insignificant. You are not too much or not enough. You are chosen. You are loved. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. So the question now is, what will you do with this truth? Will you continue living as if you are unworthy? Or will you continue living as if you are unworthy? Or will you rise into the fullness of who you are? Will you keep searching for something that has already been given to you? Or will you finally receive it? Will you keep living in fear, or will you choose faith? Because the moment you decide to trust, to let go, to surrender, you will never be the same. You will never question your worth again. You will never wonder if you are enough. You will never chase after people who cannot see you, because you will finally see yourself. And once you do, you will never go back to who you were before. When you begin to trust, you also begin to understand that all the challenges you faced in life were not meant to defeat you, but to refine you. Every painful situation you've endured, every broken relationship, every failure, it has all been a part of the greater plan to shape you into who you are today. In Psalm 23, David declares, "He restores my soul." That restoration is a continual process. Life doesn't always go according to our plans, but it unfolds in a way that is meant to mold us into the people we are meant to be. Restoration is not a quick fix. It is a deep, soul-level healing that takes time and requires patience. Sometimes we want instant transformation. We want to move past our pain quickly and move on with life. But God's restoration doesn't work that way. It is a slow, steady process that reveals our true selves layer by layer. Just as the body heals over time, so too does the soul. It takes moments of stillness, of listening, and of trusting the process. When you finally let go of the need to control every outcome, when you stop trying to force things into your life, you allow space for this restoration to happen. You stop trying to rush through life and start embracing each moment. It is in the stillness that you hear God's voice most clearly, guiding you, comforting you, and leading you toward the life you were meant to live. This is not a passive waiting. It is an act of trust. It is a choice to believe that the path you are walking is exactly the one you need to be on. It is choosing to believe that even when things don't make sense, God is still working in your life, that you are still being shaped, still being refined, that the woman you are becoming is more powerful, more resilient, and more whole than you ever imagined.